Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Today I'm going to be showing you how I use Notion to write all of the essays that I use for college. This is going to be a part of a new series that I'm calling Edumacation, where I show you all the tips and tricks that I use to have a successful college career and a full-time career at the same time. If you enjoy this video, please leave a like and a sub. It really supports the channel. And without further ado, let's jump right into this. All right, first things first, I'm going to be going into the class that I have made that this essay is going to be written for. All right, now here you can see I have like a little to-do list. I've already done like the forums for the class this week. Next, I have an essay. Haven't checked that box off, but we're going to do that together. So I am going to make a page and title this essay. Now, the next thing that I like to do is make subcategories. So for that, I'm going to use the toggle list. Now, the biggest subcategories that I personally think are important to break down your essay, and this is something that you can refine over time. I put the prompt here, the introduction, the body, and then citations. Okay, now that we have our subcategories, first thing that you're going to want to do is fill out the prompt area. So here I have the prompt for the essay that I have in class. I like to just copy and paste this. Now, I like to do it this way because it kind of brings all of the work that I'm doing together at one point. So if I'm working on the intro and I'm, doing something here, like I could always just go back into the prompt and see what exactly that I needed to address or do. It's just nice to have this here. You can highlight things if you'd like to. So let's see the biggest takeaways that we need to pay attention to in regard to this essay. All right, let me read this out really quick. You'll create a fictional character for a movie. The character should be in a management position. Your paper should utilize appropriate course material and from your own research. Ensure you address the following topics in your paper. Describe the personality of your character. All right, so right away, because the prompt is telling me that this is something that it wants, I immediately start thinking, all right, maybe that'll be like one of the main paragraphs in my body. This is to help the reader understand the challenges your leader faces. How did your character develop their management traits? I like that as well. So the reason why I'm doing this and highlighting all of these different portions of the prompt is because it's really important that you address everything that the prompt is asking for. This is going to ensure that you get the highest grade that you can possible. And again, like this doesn't always need to be open. You could always come back to it and see what exactly you need to address to kind of help you organize your thoughts. Okay, so right off the bat, this kind of seems like it is a lot to unpack, but if we take each piece of this piece by piece, kind of one step at a time, and before you know it, your entire essay is written. The first thing that I like to do when I'm writing an essay, especially an essay that requires resources, as you can see, this essay is requiring a total of 4 resources or citations. So I like to go hunting for those first, and then I kind of add them into the essay where I see them fit. It's just the easiest thing that I found for me personally. But you guys can write your essay first and then try and fit your research into it, but I kind of do it the other way around. Okay, before we start looking for resources and citations, let's get the main frame or skeleton of our essay together. So this is going to be a 7-page paper, which with double spacing and whatnot isn't going to be too bad. But I kind of want to use the classic 3 main paragraphs kind of approach to this essay. So I am going to go down here into the body and create a new toggle list. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. So for the first paragraph here, I am going to address this first highlighted topic. The second paragraph will be this highlighted topic. And last but not least, identify 3 major traits. Now this may be a possible paragraph 4, or it may be kind of like the conclusion. Not sure yet. I'm gonna leave that highlighted so I don't forget to address it later. Now that I have kind of like the idea of where I am going to write this essay around, I'm going to get rid of the prompts. That way it kind of just leaves me focused on these 3 main ideas here. So right off the bat, I kind of want to do some research on different kind of leadership traits, maybe management traits and personality traits. And once I find 4 different resources here, I am going to plug and play them into my paragraphs. So this is the online library for my school, but you guys may have in-person libraries or you may have online libraries as well. I am going to just search up leadership, see what comes up. Now, it is really nice, especially if you're writing for like a STEM class or something, that you use peer-reviewed articles. You could find this on like, I think Google Scholar will offer you things like this. Every school is different, of course, but with my online school, I have this neat little icon here that indicates whether the article was peer-reviewed or not. So I think this book on leadership seems kind of interesting. I am going to check it out. Now here I have a pretty neat little breakdown of the chapters, and I kind of just like how that sounds right off the bat. Oh, that's very bright. And here I'm just looking for a nice like clause or phrase that'll really just give me kind of inspiration of where I want to take my essay. So already I found a phrase that I like. We need a sense of significance, and leaders are those people who make us feel significant. They make us feel important and remind us that what we are doing has value far beyond just the day-to-day work. They make us feel that we are an integral part of the mission team. All right, so here in my citations portion of my Notion page, I'm going to create a toggle. I'll call this instilling meaning and purpose. All right, now that I have my quote copied, this one right here, I am going to work on properly citing and formatting. So for that, I'm going to be using Zotero and Microsoft Word. So Zotero is a free application that you can download. I'll leave a link down in the description. But just so you guys can see why I like using that, if I go here to the leadership book, that is where I just was, and I click on this little folder, it's the Zotero plugin, then immediately it will ask me which one of these I would like to source. Leadership by Tracy Bryan right there. Click OK. To my class, click enter. And now when I go on Zotero, all of the information that I need to cite the source is here. Next, to make my life a little easier, I'm going to open up a blank Microsoft Word document. So now that I have my Microsoft Word document ready, I am going to click the References tab, make sure that the style of citation that I want is selected, insert citation, add new source. This is a book, and then first let's go with the author. It's Tracy Bryan, And I'm just going to fill in the rest of these categories based off what Zotero has given me. Okay, I now have transferred all of the information over from Zotero onto Microsoft Word. Now it's going to give me my proper citation format. I'm going to bring this back to Notion, and boom. So whenever I'm ready to use this quote or paraphrase this quote, I can drop in this citation right here. And what is really important is when I am done with my essay, I can go here into bibliography, and depending on which format your class requires, boom, drop it in, and now I have the proper APA format of citing all my sources. So now that you guys have seen how I do that, I am going to get this done for my other 4 sources. Okay, so I went ahead and I researched and I grabbed 3 other citations here. I have kind of like kept the toggle title something that could really stand out to me, so when I look over here, wherever I want any of these citations to go, it's as easy as dragging and dropping. So just to give you an idea of what I mean, instilling meaning and purpose, kind of like how that sounds here in identify 3 major traits the leader possesses. Leaders inspire, might throw that one. Stream ownership, and put that inside this one. Communication, I'll put here. So the beauty of kind of working on all of them one by one down here in the citations area is once you've got everything and you've got your main paragraphs, you can kind of just drag and drop, and then everything just kind of gets organized in a nice, neat fashion. I think this is much more convenient and efficient than having a blank Microsoft Word document that you're staring at and trying to struggle to put things together. Now that I have my citations or research completed and I have the structure of the body of my essay, I am going to work on my thesis. Now, your thesis is arguably one of the most important things that you need to work on to have a successful essay. It needs to be clear, concise, and envelop all of your main ideas of your essay. This is something that I could make an entire video on in and of itself. If you're curious to see something like that, please leave it in the comments down below. But I'm basically going to try and write a sentence that directly addresses the prompt while including all of the main ideas of my paragraph. Alright, so it looks like the main kind of theme that we're trying to respond to with this essay prompt is creating a fictional character for a movie that is in a management position. So just for the sake of this paper, I'm going to name my main character Jeff. So let me just kind of write out a thesis. And this isn't going to be the final thesis. It's going to be the main idea that I build off of, and I may come back to and tweak a little bit here and there. That's also something that is really neat about having your thesis locked away right here. So you could easily find it, come back to it, tinker with it to kind of polish your essay. So here I have a very, very rough draft, I guess you could say, of a thesis. Now, I'll just read it out loud for you guys to see how it sounds. Through hard work and dedication, Jeff has developed the personality of a leader that has allowed him to lead through communication, instilling meaning in his subordinates, and his self-awareness. So, it doesn't really read too well to me, and honestly I'm trying to figure out like this last bit of the sentence here. But the really great thing about writing essays like this is I can always come back to this and make it better. And it's really important when you're using this method that I'm showing you to not get stuck on any one bullet point. Because honestly, when I'm writing an essay and it's just a blank document like that, I find it very, very easy to just get stuck. And once you start losing your momentum in your essay writing, that is when the procrastination starts happening and no essay gets written. So just because this doesn't sound perfect or how I'd like it to, doesn't mean I can't come back and fix it. But what it does mean is I can start throwing brain power at some of my other paragraphs, and then maybe I'll get an idea or something once I'm writing here, and I could come back and polish this how I'd like it to be. Now, it is important that every single one of my main paragraphs have are mentioned in the thesis. So describe the personality of your character. Through hard work and dedication, Jeff has developed the personality of a leader. So that kind of foreshadows that I'm going to be speaking about that. How did your character develop their management traits? Through hard work and dedication. Now, just because I mentioned that like first in my thesis, it almost makes me want to move that up and switch the paragraph like order. Maybe that's just like an OCD thing for me, but as you can see just how easy it is to like move around and tinker ideas with Notion's little blocks here. It's just a very awesome tool to have when you're writing essays like this. So now that I have my thesis thrown together and the main outline of all my paragraphs, I am going to start actually writing my paragraphs out. Okay, so let's get started on actually writing out our paragraphs. So as you can see, paragraph 1, I have how did your character develop their management traits? Now, of course, your topic may be different than this. And as you can see from earlier, here is my citation. So using this main idea along with the thesis that I have written out and spicing it up with this quote, this is going to help me create my first paragraph. So I'm going to make a toggle and start writing the paragraph down here. Now, if you really wanted to, you could make like a toggle for each sentence or something like that, but as far as breaking things down, this is like the deepest that I'll break it down into. I like having a paragraph toggle under each paragraph and then just kind of working on it back and forth from there. So let me get started on this paragraph and then show you guys what I mean by that. So one kind of real world scenario that just happened to me as I'm typing out this paragraph is kind of trying to see where my citations can fit. So as you can see here, I have leaders inspire, and as I was writing out Jeff's background, it just didn't really seem to fit. And then that's when I saw this other quote that I have that would fit this perfectly well. So if I want to, I can collapse those, drag this over here, because now I'd like to use this citation in this paragraph. And then I could maybe just save that one for later and see where it can fit. Now it's important when you're using citations to try and disperse them out as much as you can throughout your essay. That way it doesn't seem like you only researched one topic, that you kind of research the spectrum that the topic of your essay is covering, and you did your due diligence to separate that throughout your writing. So now that I have this extreme ownership quote here, I can incorporate it into my paragraph. So here is another just small little tip, I suppose. Jeff decided to live his life by, and then I was trying to think of a word like saying, but I couldn't really figure it out, so I just went on Google, typed in thesaurus, didn't spell it right, thesaurus, and saying, and then I found the word that I was looking for, which was motto. So Again, if you find yourself in like a writer's block of any way, shape, or form, this is another neat little tool that can possibly help you move that essay forward. Just really important to keep the ball rolling. So now I have this sentence: Jeff decided to live his life by the motto, and I can just copy and paste that. And right there, I have my proper citation of one of the resources that I needed for my essay. And that is just going to be the kind of tool or theme or aspects that I'm going to use to incorporate the writing or the sources into my writing, rather. Now that I know that I have used that citation, I could put like a little green check mark knowing that I only have to incorporate 3 more citations into my writing. This helps me keep track of how many citations I've used and to make sure I hit the minimum requirement that my prompt is requiring me to. So let's finish off this paragraph and incorporate the other citations into my writing, and I'll get back with you guys. Okay, so here are my paragraphs and the main subcomponents of them. Now, each paragraph is here in one of these drop-down menus. And as you can see, I've used all 4 of the required citations that the prompt directed me to use. I did kind of like mix and match them to where I felt that they would go best. And now that I have worked through my paragraphs and found out where this essay is going, I can go back into my intro and work on my thesis. So let's go back and read this one more time. Through hard work and dedication, Jeff has developed the personality of a leader that has allowed him to lead through communication, instilling meaning in his subordinates and self-awareness. So now that I have worked through this, I realize where I could change this. So I think I finally have something that's very close to my final thesis. Through hard work and dedication, Jeff has developed a personality which has allowed him to focus on improving himself through leadership traits. So through hard work and dedication, Jeff has developed, that is my first paragraph. How did your character develop their management traits? My second paragraph has developed a personality which has allowed him to focus, describe the personality of your character, and then through leadership traits, the last leadership traits. So it kind of really narrows down all of my main ideas into one sentence. And again, I didn't really come to this thesis until I worked through each and every one of my paragraphs. And now that I have an idea of where my entire essay is going, I can work on my introduction paragraph, and I can work on my conclusion paragraph. So I like doing it this way, working on the body and then working on the intro and conclusion afterward, because I feel like you can't really introduce your essay until you really know what the essay is going to be about. Because you can write an introduction paragraph that can be completely different from your actual body of the paragraph, and you don't really realize that until your body's already complete. That's why I personally like to work from the inside out. Now that we have addressed that, let's go ahead and write out our intro and conclusion paragraphs. Alright, so I've now written out my intro and conclusion paragraphs. My intro paragraph could probably be a little beefier, but I made sure that I incorporated all of the ideas from my paragraphs here in the body. So next thing to do is to just copy and paste this over to our Word document. That way we can see if we're meeting that 7-page mark that the prompt is requiring us to hit. Okay, so here, obviously, we have not hit that 7-page mark, and we do have a few things that we can go back and fix that have all these blue underlines, or at least give more attention to. But what is important now is now that we have a very just decent rough draft to go on, we can see which paragraphs may need some love and then just start adding sentences into them until you meet the either page or word requirement that your prompt is trying to get you to hit. So I'm going to go back into this essay and I'm going to reread it, make sure it reads well, and anywhere that I feel that a sentence can be added, I am going to add that into it and basically continue to polish this essay until I reach my final product. Okay, so now I've gone through and kind of just added some sentences here and there throughout my essay to kind of meet the standard that the prompt is requiring for the page limit. I kind of like doing it this way because once you get the main ideas of your paragraph down and you're going through and you're rereading it, it makes it a lot easier to say, oh, the sentence should go here, the sentence should go there. And it just makes it a lot more smooth of an experience to write an essay than just getting it all down at once. That's why I really enjoy making it out to be little parts, working on those parts, putting it together, then coming back at it as a whole and reworking it from there. And that for me has been the fastest way that I can put an essay together. So let's do our final touch. This little weird resume thing was just a part of my prompt. You probably won't have to do that, but this is for a management class. So let me go here on my last page, and depending on the class that you're working with, you will do this in different ways. But as you can see, all of these citations that I used throughout my essay are saved here. Once you go into reference, insert citation, it will save all of your citations here for your resources, works cited, bibliography at the end. Very nice feature from Microsoft Office. And the last finishing touch will be my cover page. So here is the title of my paper, and I'm also going to include page numbers. I enjoy working on the essay over here in Notion, and then once you have all your paragraphs put together, you can bring them over to Microsoft Word. This will not only help you proofread your essay, but it will inspire you to add more sentences or content throughout it. Things that you may have not thought of initially when you were going through and writing out your rough draft over here. That is how I turned, I believe it was like 4 pages into the required amount that was listed here. So I have 7 pages, one including the cover page and the last including the resources page. I know this video is pretty long, but I hope that it pays dividends in your future essay writing. I hope that you guys can either use this system or use it to help you in developing your own to just pump out essays as fast and as proficient as possible. If you'd like to support the channel, please leave a like and a sub. It really does help out, and I appreciate you guys stopping by. Catch you later.